The engineers who designed Boeing aircraft faced an impossible problem in 1960. Building an aircraft nearly twice the size of all aircraft produced up to that point would change and improve commercial aviation forever. Here it is, the jumbojet Boeing 747, which flew over oceans and completely changed the way we fly. You are reading this and seeing it, but the perfect secret lies hidden within its aluminum fuselage. Shortly after it was introduced and began flying, this aircraft seemed destined to become obsolete. It appeared to be designed that way. How did it become one of the most iconic aircraft in history? Have you ever wondered? How did this technological marvel, with its enormous size, lead the company that designed it to bankruptcy? This aircraft holds some stories that even aviation enthusiasts are unaware of. In this video, I will reveal the 10 extraordinary secrets of the Boeing 747, including its hidden capabilities that seem impossible, even by today's standards, and its record-breaking achievements. I'm confident that this story will change your perspective on the Boeing 747. I will save the most surprising secret for last, and trust me, it's not what you're thinking. The first secret, the 747's most famous feature, its hump, which has become an unintended icon, was not actually designed for passengers. When engineers first designed the Boeing 747 in 1960, they believed it would quickly replace traditional aircraft. The Boeing 747 was produced with a different idea in mind, in case passenger demand declined. If that happened, it could be quickly converted into a cargo plane. This striking upper deck section was raised above the main deck, and the nose section was designed to open completely. This design was a clever precaution to ensure that the cockpit did not obstruct passengers during cargo loading. What is even more interesting is that the Boeing 747, which was the result of this design decision, created an extraordinary travel experience in the commercial aviation sector. Passengers sat in seats at the front of the lower deck of the aircraft's nose section. This design offered a perspective that no other aircraft could offer. Imagine this for a moment. While passengers on many other aircraft sit directly behind the cockpit, those on the Boeing 747 sit at the very front of the aircraft in the nose section. The visual spectacle they experienced was so perfect that even the pilots couldn't see it. It had become a brand that people around the world could recognize at a glance. The second secret is supersonic subsonic flight. Even after 50 years, the Boeing 747 is still the fastest subsonic commercial aircraft. Did that surprise you? Modern aircraft such as the Airbus A350 and Dreamliner surpass the Boeing 747 in terms of range, technology, and efficiency, but there is one exception. Even these two aircraft cannot match the 747's speed. The 747-400 and 747-8 fly at Mach 0.85, which equates to 564 miles per hour at high altitudes. In comparison, most modern aircraft today fly at speeds around Mach 0.80. This difference may seem small to you, but it's not. It provides excellent time savings on transoceanic flights. The importance of this became strikingly clear in 2020. A Boeing 747 aircraft belonging to British Airways was caught in a very strong jet stream, a fast air current at high altitude, over the North Atlantic Ocean. It flew from New York to London in just 4 hours and 56 minutes. This was the fastest flight ever made by a subsonic passenger aircraft and almost matched the speed of the supersonic Concorde. This raises the question, how were engineers in the 1960s, using only rulers and wind tunnels, able to design an aircraft faster than modern computer-aided aircraft? The third secret, the flying rescue mission. The true capability of the Boeing 747 was revealed during an extraordinary flight in 1991 that saved thousands of lives. As war was about to break out in Ethiopia, the Israeli government launched an operation named Solomon to evacuate Jewish citizens in Ethiopia within just 36 hours. The true hero of this operation was the Boeing 747. The airline removed all the interior fittings and equipment from the 747-400, leaving the aircraft completely empty. What followed was nothing short of incredible. A total of 1,088 people boarded the aircraft. This number was more than double the normal passenger capacity. A record was broken in the commercial aviation sector on the day of the operation. Airline engineers made very complex plans, taking into account such a large number of passengers. During the flight, 2 women went into labor, increasing the number of passengers by 2. This was not only a triumph for engineers and other individuals. The 747's unimaginable capabilities were among the features that made it perfect. This massive aircraft, the Boeing 747, served people in a way that no other aircraft could. Have you ever considered the extraordinary capabilities of the aircraft you travel in? Secret 4. An engineering marvel with an analog design. Imagine 970 key lights and gauges. Could you manage this complex structure? When the Boeing 747 was first designed and manufactured, this was the reality for pilots. There were no digital systems or glass cockpits like those found in modern aircraft today. 3 professional pilots were needed to manage 970 indicators. While the pilot and co-pilot managed the aircraft, the flight engineer was responsible for managing certain systems. A flight engineer with special training was needed to control cabin pressure and balance, fuel supply and electrical systems, and the third person took on all these responsibilities. Although flying a Boeing 747 was challenging, it created a very different culture on long-haul flights. This 3-person crew developed rituals and friendships that others in the digital age might describe as getting lost in the moment. This 3-person team earned special and great respect in the aviation industry for managing this perfect structure. This team earned the title of King of the Skies in the aviation industry. This was the pinnacle of their careers. Today, professional pilots who operate state-of-the-art computerized aircraft systems cannot even imagine the bond that Boeing 747 pilots had with their machines. The 5th secret is that Boeing took a big risk in the aviation industry in 1966. Many people believed that investing in this aircraft, which was considered difficult to build, was a risky move. The production of this aircraft involved over 750 million different parts, 170 miles of wiring, 5 miles of piping, and 70,000 engineering drawings, a highly complex and material-intensive process. Building such a large structure in existing production facilities seemed impossible. Boeing's solution came quickly. To produce this aircraft, they built the largest building in the world by volume, the Everett facility in Washington. Even in today's modern world, this building, spanning 400,000 square meters, still holds this title. This was not only a revolution in engineering, but also a major revolution in logistics. The team that carried out this project called themselves revolutionaries. They worked day and night to solve all the problems. The entire program, from the project phase to the first flight of this aircraft, took a total of 28 months. This is a very long time even for today's modern aircraft. The total cost of this process was $150 billion, which meant that if the project had failed, Boeing could have gone bankrupt. The value of this today is equivalent to approximately $10 billion. At that time, it was more than the total value of the company. It was not just a new aircraft, but a gamble. It was a gamble on whether or not to change the commercial aviation industry. Up to this point in the video, I have told you about some of the features of the 747. However, we have not yet mentioned some of its most remarkable features. Are any of you flying on a Boeing 747? If so, please share your memories of this aircraft in the comments, and let's discuss them. In Secret 6, the Boeing 747 looked different from all other aircraft. When it was first designed by engineers, it was supposed to be a double-decker. This idea was proposed by aerospace engineer Joe Sutter. This design would double the passenger capacity and keep the fuselage shorter. However, there was a major safety issue. FAA regulations required that all passengers be evacuated within 90 seconds in case of an emergency. Engineers believed that evacuating a fully loaded 2-story aircraft within 90 seconds was impossible. This meant they had to rethink the aircraft's design. The upper deck was completely eliminated, leaving only a partial deck. This, though unintended, gave the Boeing 747 its iconic silhouette and elegant design. The cockpit was located on the partial upper deck. This design allowed the nose section to be fully opened, enabling the loading of large cargo. All of these design features ensured the Boeing 747's longevity. The fact that it could be converted into a cargo aircraft after passenger operations ended gave it many more years of service. What made the 747 unique among other aircraft was that it was not part of the original plan. Sometimes problems can lead to the most elegant designs. British Airways' retro BOAC colors and Qantas's One Dreaming Aboriginal design demonstrate how the 747's massive fuselage can be transformed into a cultural structure visible from miles away. Secret 8. A Qantas 747-400 aircraft flew non-stop from England to Sydney over 11,000 miles, achieving what was once deemed impossible. This was pushing the limits to the extreme. The 747-400ER's extended range allowed it to carry an enormous amount of jet fuel, approximately 65,000 gallons. That's enough fuel to power an average car for 60 years. However, even such a large capacity was not designed for such a long journey. For the record-breaking 747-400 aircraft, engineers had to rethink the aircraft's capabilities. They had to reduce its weight. To achieve this, they removed every unnecessary component from the aircraft. They took this so far that they even installed fuel tanks in the areas originally allocated for cargo. The flight lasted 20 hours, and the fuel was almost depleted. It proved itself by completing this flight 20 years before even extra-long-range aircraft like the Airbus A350. Imagine what this meant for engineers in 1980. The aircraft designed by those engineers had not yet been designed by 2010. This was not a marketing campaign. It was a demonstration of the undiscovered capabilities of an aircraft that could not have been designed in just a few years. Secret 9. The Boeing 747 didn't just change the aviation industry. For 25 years, it also helped conquer space. NASA used specially designed 747's, space shuttle carrier aircraft, to transport its spacecraft between takeoff and landing. Transporting these spacecraft required significant modifications. Many of the aircraft's components were removed, and the fuselage was reinforced. All these changes were made to ensure the safe transport of the spacecraft without causing any damage to the aircraft or its components. The 747 space shuttle carriers successfully transported the Discovery, Atlantis, and Endeavour spacecraft on flight number 87. It played the role of an unsung hero in the American space program. However, its mission was overlooked. Think about it. How would you safely transport 80-ton space vehicles mounted on top of a commercial passenger aircraft from one place to another? The 747's sturdy and unique design was a testament to the excellence of aerospace engineers. NASA's space shuttle carrier, the 747, completed its final mission in 2012 by transporting the Endeavour to a museum exhibition. As it made its final landing, the 747 touched down with its cargo, symbolizing American innovation. What other commercial aircraft could have accomplished such missions? Of course, no other aircraft could. None of the secrets we have revealed are the most remarkable technical features of the 747. Think of an aircraft that has become a global cultural phenomenon beyond its original purpose. The Boeing 747 has logged over 120 million flight hours and completed over 25 million flight cycles. And it has carried a total of 7.5 billion people, according to statistics. Imagine the magnitude of those numbers. That's equivalent to the total world population. The Boeing 747 was more than just a means of transportation. Sometimes it brought people together by transporting them across oceans. Sometimes it carried aid to disaster areas, and sometimes it contributed to the advancement of science by assisting the space sector. It even transported American presidents to important meetings, providing great service to humanity. The Boeing 747 has become recognized by all of humanity. It has been used in countless advertisements and films. Even children can draw its silhouette by heart. This aircraft has managed to establish a deep emotional bond between people. The pilots and other crew members who flew it developed a connection with the aircraft. Aviation engineers speak about it with passion. Passengers who experienced flying on the upper deck of the aircraft still talk about their experiences years later. Today, more efficient and newer aircraft have replaced the 747. However, these aircraft are still not technically superior to the 747. From its incredible speed during flight to evacuating communities during war and even transporting space shuttles, it has undertaken sacred and unprecedented missions. When examining the details of the aircraft, many of its legacy-defining capabilities come to light. Originally designed as a cargo aircraft, its design evolved into various fields, making it perhaps the most important machine of the 20th century. The 747 is a rare aviation achievement that balances human experience, satisfaction with technical perfection. The engineers who designed the aircraft did not merely solve problems, they also created a sense of beauty. Today, the last remaining 747s are gradually being retired from service. We are not just saying goodbye to an aircraft, but also to that remarkable era. The king may be leaving the aviation industry, but his reign has forever shaped the commercial aviation sector. Do you have any memories of the Boeing 747? Which secret you heard in this story surprised you the most? Share your thoughts with us in the comments. Even if you've never flown on a plane, which of these secrets would surprise you the most? Whatever you do, may God be with you.